So there are more or less three ways of thinking about how philosophers use arguments. So the first way is with implications. So the idea here is that from some position or some idea, we draw out implications, or what else must be true given that our initial idea is true. So, for example, we're going to see with Descartes that Descartes thinks that minds and bodies are different kinds of stuff, right? That we have mental stuff that we're made up out of and physical stuff that we're made out of. So mind and body are literally two different kinds of stuff. So an implication of this is that there has to be some kind of account of the ways in which these different kinds of stuff interact. So if Descartes is right about mind and body, then there has to be some kind of account for how these things interact. Right? So that's one. The second is in identifying presuppositions. So in other words, that given that one thing is true, some other condition must also be true. We find this with the philosopher Immanuel Kant. Kant argues that because we have morality, because we have moral rules, we must be free. In other words, there is free will. So in this case, what Kant is doing is identifying a presupposition for our moral behaviors. In order for us to engage in moral behaviors, we have to be free. So that's another one. The third use of arguments is as interpretive tools. So in this case, what we're doing is we have some phenomenon, right? Something that we're thinking about, and then we argue about ways to understand it. So for example, sticking with free will again, if you see one person do something, whatever you like, steal an apple, drop a letter in the mailbox, whatever. One way of thinking about this is that the person has freely chosen to do whatever it is that they're going to do, right? Another way comes from the philosopher Baruch Spinoza, whom we're going to learn about a little bit later in the course. So Spinoza argues that we are thoroughly determined. There is no such thing as free will. And so for Spinoza, the way to think about this person's behavior is that they are pushed and pulled by the mechanisms of the world. So we have the same behavior in both cases, but we argue about how to interpret that behavior.